The beating heart of our people was a king who knew only victory. He wanted nothing more than an honorable death on the battlefield. Yet, none could match him, and so he wandered the earth, becoming lost in time and tide. Then we too lost our honest purpose, while silk-clad men sat upon the throne. But tremble now, all cities that lay under the stars, for out of the shadows and mists of the land of promise, our courage has been rekindled, our heart has returned, and the world will burn.
Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to Comic Book Team Up. This is where RJ and I, and sometimes a third person comes on. But I if you saw my It's Clobber Tom, I invited a guy live, and he said yeah, and then I haven't heard from him. So and then the week before that guy said yeah, and then didn't show up. So I'm starting to think they don't like RJ because that could be the only. So
Could
RJ
be.
and I, what's that?
Could be.
Yeah. So RJ and I we're gonna talk comics. First off, before we start, I have an active campaign. You saw that. It's Heroic Tales #1. You can still get it. It's in demand. My beard is asymmetrical and it's driving me nuts. It's time for a haircut. It's on Fund My Comic. I was just talking with Renzo today, Renzo the artist, and he said he's just chugging through. He said he will be done with the comic by the end of February. And if that's the case, man, we are flying. I when he said that, I was like, oh my God, I got so much stuff to do. I thought I had so much time. So so I will say that issue 2 will launch sooner rather than later. And when I launch the campaign for issue 2, I will shut down that site and I'll do it so it's nice and easy and streamlined. How's that? And there you go. And RJ, you have a campaign. I showed the trailer, Crom the Destroyer. What's going on with Crom the Destroyer as I fix this?
We're still working on it, slowly but surely working on it. Nick is doing the last pages of chapter 3, and Jim is still doing the last pages of chapter 1. So we're still chugging away at the art. That's what we're working on. And I got, like I said before, I'm looking at different kinds of fulfillment this time. So we may do a little bit different this time. The thing being also, I have Mike Gustovich doing the inking, but the what is it? The artist version is simply going to be the pencils. So we might go to print with some of the books rather than all of it right at once, because some people just ordered that. So that might be up before the actual graphic novel. So I'm looking at different things for printing for that.
Okay, cool.
I just noticed, John, though, you must be dealing with the same wicked cold that I am, because I literally have the exact same sweater jacket on than you do, except mine's blue.
Yeah, this is it's like a robe. You know, it's a hoodie. You pull it over, but it comes down to my knees, and I absolutely love it. It just keeps me. I work outside. It is just unbearably cold, like painfully cold. It was like 5 degrees. It was just unbearable. And I come home and I just want to be warm. So I crank the heat, and then the heating bill is outrageous. So my wife bought me this, and it keeps me so hot that I haven't touched the thermostat is off. Like the minimum it goes is 50. It's at 50. You know what I mean? Like I just put on some thermal socks because I'm in the basement. It's a cement floor with like pergo on the floor, so my feet get cold. But I got thermal socks. I got this, and I said you should have a good heating bill this year because
We're almost almost the same, but opposite in a way, because I'm up not really in the attic, but second floor of my building is where I usually do my recording, and there's not a whole lot of heat up here. Usually, it's just keep it above 30. Right now, it's 36 in here because I got the space heater going.
Oh God! So we got Zach Dan saying, "Hale, hope you have a blessed day." Thank you. Monumental. Yeah, I thought you were going to come on tonight. Steven was going to come on at 7:00 today, but I had stuff to do. It's the cold weather is just ruining everything. Trains are running late. Things are breaking down at work. And sometimes you just need heat at work to keep things from freezing. Like if the monocoat freezes, it doesn't stick. So there's that. So I had to stay and take care of that. I just got distracted. If I wanted another alternate cover of the first campaign, would it be more helpful for you if I get it? I'll wait to get it with campaign. Are you talking to me or are you talking to RJ? Because as of right now, I'm not. Oh, I get you. Yeah, there was 5 covers for Heroic Tale #1. If you want to get it now, it's going to cost you $10 plus shipping. If you want to wait for Heroic Tales #2 and then just put it all together and it won't, combine the shipping, it'll save you. That I understand if you do that. I understand if you do that because if you order just one thing, you're gonna get hit with shipping. You know what I mean? Like, and I realized when I made 3 campaigns on 3 different websites with 3 different covers, some people told me, "Man, I really want to get all 3 covers, but that's $30 in shipping." And I said, "Just wait. I'm going to bring them all over to Fund My Comic when Indiegogo and Kickstarter close down, and then you could get them all at once." So that was a tactical error, alerting error.
It's one of the things I kick myself in the pants for every once in a while.
You were the 7:00 slot, and I wasn't sure I was going to get home on time, Steven. So, I'll make it up to you. I normally do my conversations at 7, but like I said, things were just crazy today, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. And I'd rather just err on the side of caution. If I read Monumental. You didn't send a link. You didn't respond. You didn't respond. The last thing you said was let me see. That's not a confirmation. Zach Tan says thank you. So, what were you saying, RJ?
I was saying that's one of the things I kick myself in the pants for every once in a while, because I try and make sure that if people have multiple orders, because some people order one and then order another one later. I don't know what it is, but I try to ship them all at once and then save on a bunch of stuff. But it doesn't always work. I don't always pay the closest attention to my backers list. I'm thinking that if I have more professional people doing it, then they'll be able to do that much more than I am.
Right. Yeah. Like a little behind the scenes. I fulfilled everything myself. And the way I did it was Indiegogo. I only had like 6 orders. So I filled Indiegogo first just to get it over with, and then I had Kickstarter. I had like 53 orders. So I did Kickstarter next, because that was the second least. I still have people that didn't respond to the surveys that didn't get their books yet. So, thank you for the money. I don't know what to say. I sent you emails and stuff, but the way Kickstarter work, if you don't respond to the survey, that's when I get your information. It's kind of a good protection. So, a fraudulent person can't just make a campaign to get people's information. So you have to respond to the survey. So a few people didn't respond to the surveys. I hope they realize sooner or later. But so I sent them out. And then Fund My Comic was the bulk of the orders, and that took like weeks to send out. But if you ordered on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, it was already in the mail before I noticed that you ordered on Fund My Comic. It was just really the only way I could do it. I mean, I know Rodney from Critical Blast, or RJ rather from Critical Blast. You could pay him $100 and he'll take all your information and coalesce it. And I was really just concerned about saving money. My campaign kind of broke even. It kind of broke even, unless there's stuff that I forgot about, because there's a lot of people who bought the comic in person that you don't see on any of the 3 sites. And I try my best to take that money and just put it in a drawer and forget about it, which begs the question: what are you good with money, RJ? Like, are you one of these people you get $25,000 from your campaign and then go out and buy a new car or something like that?
Everything goes towards books. So if I make extra on a book, then it goes towards the next book. That's what I always say.
Extra? What's that?
Yeah.
So like I said, the first book I laid out everything. So the second book, I know what my budget is because that's the money I collected from the first book. So that's what I'm gonna do. Hey, Gordon, good brother. Hello, Ryan Banks. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something else, but then I forgot. Oh yeah. So what's the temperature up there where you got?
What's the temperature here? Oh, good heavens. I don't even know. I think it's probably, I don't know. It's probably warmer than you. We're probably, I don't know, about 19 maybe.
Yeah, I'm 15 degrees right now. When I woke up, it was -5, and man, I have to work outside. So I wore 3 pairs of Arctic socks. I could barely fit them in my shoes. I wore pajamas. Then I put thermals on, and then I put my pants on. So I had 3 layers of pants. And then I had a shirt, a heavy shirt, my thermals, because it's one big piece, and then a sweatshirt and a jacket. But I got these big, heavy insulated gloves that they give you at work. They're really expensive, and they're oil resistant and they're cut resistant. So they're like insulated safety gloves. I just didn't take them all. I didn't care if it took me forever. Like if I dropped a washer, I did you see the Fantastic Four movie when the Thing was trying to pick up the ring and he just couldn't? That's what it's like. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm getting another washer. But it was just unbearable. But my toes were still kind of cold. 67 degrees. Where are you?
Although, John,
motorcycle is important for research purposes. Yeah, I'm going to buy a motorcycle. Yeah, Monumental. Where is it? Are you guys cold? It's just unbearable. To the point where they're like, yeah, it's not going to be bad on Friday. It's only going to be 40.
To the south of us and to the west of us is snow, and they're getting snow. So at the very least, we're not getting that, John.
You didn't get snow?
Nope.
Yeah, we got like a couple of inches, not that bad, but it just turned to ice. So it was snow, and then by the time I woke up, it was just sheets of ice. It was like Iceman attacked.
Sunday it was raining here. It was like I don't know, about 35 here, 38, and it was raining all day. That was Sunday though.
Okay, I'm going to address this question in a second. What percentage of cost of doing your comics is printing and shipping versus art? Well, that depends on how many orders you get. If for me, I had a 40-page book, okay, and I had, everything all together, even in-person sales, stuff like that. I had about 500 sales. So printing versus the art was, for me, almost exactly the same. So 50-50, but I can imagine somebody like Michael Bancroft, who did over $100,000. Oh, that's a bad example because he does it himself. But like RJ, you did a lot more sales than me, so I imagine your printing was probably more because you had to print more comics.
Oh yeah. Well, I roll. You gotta put. For Indiegogo, anyways, you have to put in shipping. If you're going to ship it out, you got to put in a shipping number you got to calculate how much you're gonna actually use. So yeah, probably I would say shipping is about 6,000 for the last campaign, whereas printing was about 10.
Oh wow. How many sales did you have?
In the 400s, closer to 500.
Oh yeah, but you had a bigger book than me. Yeah.
Oh yeah. My books are, by the way, if anybody doesn't know, my books are about 80 pages plus.
Yeah. My book was 40 pages and had a lower price count. Yeah. So there you go. Like, that's one thing when you're looking at somebody's campaign, you can't really go by the number because like good example is Vaughn Coleman has a Phenomenova. His first issue was $25. And then I think his second issue, don't quote me, don't get mad, but I think his second issue was 10 because it's half the size. So his numbers are vastly different, and some people are making fun of him. But it's like, dude, it's what 150% cheaper, so of course the numbers are going to be lower, but he's tracking the same amount of stuff. So you got to go by backers. So I just hope that I retain the same back. Of course I want more backers, but my goal is to retain the same backers that I got for my first book, for my second one. And I'm going to probably be launching in February. Just waiting for Renzo to finalize a couple of pages, get it colored, and then I'm going to get a trailer made. I'm going to do it right this time. Last time
I honestly think that people were just hurting too much for last year to be too much of everybody's going to buy your book, because I'm still selling in dribs and drabs of the Valiant Heroes. People are buying it every once in a while when they can. And the thing is that I literally put my printing numbers according to the day that I close, and then I add probably 50 books to it, maybe sometimes a little more. And I'm looking at having to do a second printing because people have bought up all my extra stock already.
Oh, good. That's good. The second printing is good. I'm as you can see, I got this spinner rack just filled with my comics, and then I got a whole nother long box full. I printed a lot more because I was really hoping that with issue 2, people are gonna bundle up and get issue number 1. So I don't think I'm gonna sell out. I might sell out on this cover right here. Where is it? The Daddy cover. That was my least printed. And then the Mike Gustovich cover, which is a real shame because it's a great cover, was the second least. So those two I'll probably sell out. And when those two sell out, they're probably going to be gone for good. I think the only thing I'm going to reprint is the Renzo cover, and maybe I'll have Renzo do a second cover variant cover. What do you think of that? Is that a good strategy? I hate to think like I'm milking people out of money,
Well, at the same time, you could also, in the future, if you're keeping on going and you need an extra page, then reprint one of the covers that no one has seen before, or very few people have seen before, in a back page or stuff like that. It's a good idea to have some art in reserve that you can use.
Oh, another thing that would do it is, I got a lot of characters, and Renzo does character sketches. So, these character sketches are really good. Like, well, that's not exactly right. We'll do it like this. Okay. So I was like, what, Renzo, I created a file, and he's putting all of his sketches, even if cause he did 4 variations for issue 2's cover, in rough pencils. And I picked the one I like the best. And I was like, upload those 3. So I think, somewhere around issue 3, we'll put out an Art of Heroic Tales book, and I'll talk about some of the characters, some background information about some of these characters that he sketched, why this guy was changed. Like one guy he had this name, then he went to this name, then he went to this name, and then I went back to the original name, and all of them are all sketched out, so I'll probably use them as different characters.
I'm sending you right now some character sketches that Renzo did for Thomas Valiant number 2.
On what? On Twitter?
On your Twitter, yeah.
Okay, let me summon Twitter. Go Tech. RJ was saying I'm tech savvy. I was like, do you know me? It's funny because I'll go to work and do all this electric stuff, but when it comes to electronic, like people got to understand, electrics is not electronics. Oh, this is cool stuff. All right, we'll show this, and then what I was going to do tonight was talk about some comics that I said I wanted to talk about this. So before I show you art, I want to address this. So I feel bad because I invited Monumental Comics on this very show, but I didn't hear back from you. So I've been getting gun shy. People have been not showing up. So I just didn't even think that you were going to come. I'm sorry, Monument. So I'll make it up to you. So not this Wednesday. The following Wednesday, we're going to be on RJ's channel. But the Wednesday after that, Monumental, is reserved. But what you got to do is you got to respond to me with your links and a promo image. That's how I know that you're definitely going to come on. If people just let me think about it, that's not a yes.
If anybody wants to know, next Wednesday, Duck Bacon is going to be on with
good.
me. So we're going to talk art because he has some beautiful art.
Yes, he does. So what are the requirements to be panelist on this show? Well, I don't know what when RJ hosts on his channel, he's in charge. When I host on this channel, I'm in charge. And it's for me, you don't have to have a comic. I just want to talk about comics. If you have a comic, I'm a little bit stricter about this show. Like you got to send me your links. I check out your comic, and if it looks good, because I hate to be mean, but some people sent me comics, and it was just like, I don't want to talk about this for an hour. You know what I mean? It's you know, I don't want to expound on that. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. But so it has to meet some sort of level of this looks good, this is exciting, or whatever. And other than that, who cares? You know. But again, I don't care if you have a comic or you don't have a comic. If you just want to talk about comic books, like if you just say to me, "Hey, John, can I be on Comic Books Team Ups? I have this idea that I'd like to talk about." I'm like, "Wow, that's a good idea." That's fine too. That's absolutely fine. But you know, it's just three nerds hanging out talking about comic books. You know, so does that answer your question? Let me put it this way: RJ hangs out with me. The standards are very low. Do the alternate thing and keep the same cover, just change the title. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good cheap idea. That's a good. Oh, okay. Okay. So Monumental is nothing personal, man. You were great on Monumental popped in on It's Clobbering Time Friday night when we were talking about Magneto versus the Metal Men. And man, he knows his stuff. Not only does he know his stuff, he was talking about Sumerian mythology and cuneiform writing. My wife was sitting over there going, "This guy knows his stuff." So yeah, you're always welcome. Don't take it personal. This was just, I didn't hear from you. You know, it's, you know, if I ask a girl out and she says, "Let me think about it," that's not a yes. You know what I mean? And I'm not the kind of guy that's going to stand outside your radio, you know, outside your window with the radio in the air. You know what I mean? Like I'm fine painting miniatures for Warhammer in the basement, you know? So, let's see now. All right. I'm going to add this to the stage, and I'm going to embiggen this. So me and RJ will be small. So RJ, these are comics that I read this week. Usually I try to read 5 comics a day, but oh my God, I this weather, let me ask you and the chat, just what wears you out more, the cold or the heat?
Oh, the cold, definitely the cold. I am the only one I know that is like this. I would much rather be too hot than too cold. Everyone else is like, no, I'd rather be too cold. I can make myself warm. I'm like, nope. The cold just saps the energy straight out of me.
So I'm going to go on record and say that the cold is worse. Even though the heat caused me to pass out and break my neck in a car accident, when it gets super hot, you know, you sweat constantly, and I don't want to eat. That's my problem. I just get so hot that I don't want to eat. The thought of food kind of disgusts me, and I do a physical job, and that's what the doctors all think caused this low blood sugar, and I passed out and crashed my car. So yes, I think the heat is more dangerous, but man, I cannot take the cold. I'm like a little kid. Like I wake up in the morning, like I don't want to go to work. Oh my God. It is just, and I find that coffee break, I am ravenous. You know, my wife packs a big lunch for me, and I just, it takes all my willpower not to eat everything at coffee break. and then by lunchtime, which is only 2 hours later, I am ravenous again. You know, and then today, 2 hours, you know, it's every 2 hours we get a break. So, and then, you know, and then the last 2 hours we go home. I wait 25 minutes for the train. I ran and I grabbed a slice of pizza. I was ravenous. Like, does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense to me, John, because I'm the same way. It's like my body feels like it needs something, and I think, oh, I must be hungry. But no, really what I need is heat, right? It's saying you need something, and my body can't figure it out. I think that it's food. You know, okay. Because I can't make myself warmer, so I'm gonna fill my belly.
My theory is just your body works harder to maintain the high body temperature. You know what I mean? I don't know.
True.
But that's that. But like I said, the heat. For me personally, the heat is more dangerous. But it's funny because in August I'm like, I'm ready to freeze. I can't stand the heat. But I think I'm done saying that. I think it's the cold. And it's funny because me and my wife were talking about moving to Alaska. And everybody at work is like, you can't take this. I'm like, yeah, but I don't have to be outside for 8 hours a day. You know, like in Alaska, I could go out, do what I need to do, sit in my house. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm going to go shovel the walk, you know, and then I'll be retired. If I don't feel like shoveling the walk, I'll stop, you know, and finish it tomorrow kind of thing, you know. I don't know.
But
But,
I saw a news story about the guy, I think it was in New Jersey, who was cleaning off his steps with a flamethrower.
yeah, he got arrested for it or something like that.
Eh.
I don't have any experience with real cold. Well, good for you. Good for you. Uh, I'm thinking about Arizona because it's got to be affordable. So I'm thinking about Arizona. I was thinking about Vermont just because I like the politics, but it's basically it has to be a place that doesn't tax your pension. I'm just hopeful that Trump is saying today that he wants to get rid of the IRS. So that might open up millions of possibilities because I don't want my pension taxed. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I worked for this, and now you're gonna tax me, and I gotta pay property tax, and I gotta pay, state tax. It's like, knock it off, But anyway, I think statistically, cold is more dangerous than heat on this. You're probably right. Look at all the civilizations that lived in the cold. Like the heat civilizations kind of thrived, whereas the cold civilizations, the Vikings.
I always think you want to learn about how dangerous the cold is. Read the short story To Build a Fire. Yeah, that just scared the living daylights out of me.
The cold triggers my cave woman brain to eat more. Oh yeah, I said this to my wife, but I'm not a whatever biologist or whatever or nutritionist. But I think the cold. I'm just burning calories to maintain heat. We got stray kittens or cats now that live on. I call them guardians. They just patrol they just go around the house patrol, and they are eating so much in the cold. So I think it's just to keep the body temperature up. You need more fuel. You need more fuel to build a fire. It's easier for me to cool off than warm up. Yes, I agree, because I come home and, like I said, I take a hot shower. I put this thing on. I'm wearing Arctic socks in my own house. I still can't get the cold out of my bones. The only time I'm warm is I got this 40-pound blanket. Anybody have a weighted blanket? I get into my bed and I throw this blanket on. It's like being in a panini press. I never want to get out. I'm here to philosophize with the crew. Well, unfortunately, you listen to me talk about panini presses and stuff. Unfortunately, exactly. If you have climate control dwelling the environment, yeah. And I'll make friends wherever I go. Isn't Bernie Sanders from Vermont? Yeah, that's but it's the closest to like a libertarian state of the union. But I'm hopeful that the political climate's going to change in the next 4 years, and then 8 years after that. But I don't want to get too much into politics. But I do want to get into Old Dirty Fatty's comment. By the time you reach Social Security, it will have been taxed 5 times. Yep. So, I mean, I don't want to tell too much, but I'll have a pension. I got my 401k, and I'll have an international pension, and then I'll have a Social Security. So I shouldn't be too bad. And then I got a comic book collection that I wanted. I keep saying when I retire, I'll start selling it, but I don't want to sell it. No place.
Whenever I see the initials SSI, I think about the old Dungeons and Dragons. That's who put out the Dungeons and Dragons games for PC was SSI.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hope you liked it. Hope if it's a bad review, then don't review it. But if it's a good review, send me the link. Now, I heard what one of my friends said he was shocked. Oh, I guess. Well, you read it. Shocked by The Hunting. He goes, couldn't you have not shown up? I said the whole point of the comic is it's like masculine, like he homeschools. He has killed. He hunts. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I could have shown it less in your face, but to me that was like part of the positive masculinity. Like, this guy provides for his family. But anyway, let's talk about. So I read this. Are you familiar with these Big Bang comics?
No, that's the first time I've ever seen any of them. I mean, you got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the back.
Right. So what this is it's a fake golden age superheroes. So there was like a 4-issue miniseries, and then they brought it back. So this is the ongoing series. And so like the Night Watchman is like a Batman ripoff. This is Galahad, the Night Watchman's like, this is like Robin. And in this issue, he falls down into the sewer and he meets the teen, and it's supposed to be years ago. You know what I mean? It's like Silver Age, Golden Age. So he meets the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when they're like less than 10 years old. You know what I mean? So they're little kids. And like him fighting with swords inspires them to put on masks and put on swords, you know. I was like, oh yeah, the Ninja Turtles. So it's a Ninja Turtle spin. But when I first read it, I didn't like it because it's aping Silver Age comics, and I've been saying for a long time I don't like DC Silver Age, but now it's just so charming. I really like it. Like if you just want to just read it, like I don't like. I'm such a nerdy comic fan. I love all the continuity and crossing the T's and dotting the I's. This I just sit and read. You know, like like the Ninja Turtles exist in their world, so that means everything that exists. Like I would like now this can't exist because the Ninja Turtles visited Atlantis in issue 4 in the Night Watchman of it, and they were different. You know what I mean? I don't care about that. I just read this for some charming superhero comics, and I got to say this image inspired an NPC. Our character I want to use in an upcoming issue of Heroic Tales. So I recommend this. It's funny because I say I don't review comics, but whatever I do, what you're reading is when I recommend or not. This is DMZ, Brian Wood's comic. Brian Wood was like a bigwig in comics, and all of a sudden I think it was like Tess Fowler or somebody else like Me Too'd him, and that just destroyed his career. Now this comic DMZ, it's basically like a hillbilly militia just arose and like became like, while the United States was like dealing with a war in Europe, they just came and like took over. So now like there's like a civil war in the United States with like the hillbilly militia and the government. But the thing is, I don't know who the good guys are, the bad guys are. Like he's doing a pretty good job of just focusing on the humans, because the legitimate government's not too good, but the hillbilly militia is like, I don't know, like there would be guys who take advantage and capture, you know what I mean? Like, so, but what happens is it's a really bad premise. For some reason, Manhattan is like Escape from New York. It's walled off and it's its own separate territory. And this journalist goes in there to see what's going on. And I'm just like, nah, that would never happen. That would never happen. But he's such a good writer. And I like the characters that, even though, I mean, it's supposed to be the real world, but it's so far-fetched, but I like it anyway because Brian Wood's a good writer, to the point where I bought his other comic, Rebels, which is, you know, the founding fathers. And he has another comic, Northlanders. It's about Vikings. That is outstanding. So, you know, like I said, the premise, there might as well be spaceships and superheroes and unicorns, but the writing is really good. So I'm up to issue 8.
Zach Dan says, I wouldn't want to mess with the hillbillies. Reminds me of a t-shirt that was on the stands when, what is it? The Walking Dead was in full swing. It was, everybody makes fun of the redneck until the zombie apocalypse.
It's funny that you said that because I had a game night with a group of people that I don't really associate with anymore because I was a troublemaker who wouldn't get a COVID shot. So they kicked me out of the group that I founded. But one of the guys was just like super progressive. We had a no politics rule, and this group lasted for about 7 years. You know, I didn't know anybody's politics. The group was fun. We just played board games, you know, talked about Marvel movies and stuff like that. But this one guy was always, because he knew my politics, you know, but he always wanted to start a political discussion. And I would say something in a moment of weakness. And then finally he's like, you know, we're going to get the Civil War going, and then you guys will be sorry. I was like, you guys can't even change your tires. I said, you better hope there's no Civil War. I mean, the conservatives, all the rednecks that you make fun of, you can't, you don't. I said, you're a college Shakespeare professor. Nobody needs you post, Civil War, you know. And he just looked at me. I said, do you know how to change your car? Could you hook up solar panels? Could you build a house? Could you farm? What do you have to offer, you know, when the government collapses? I said, you better pray there's no Civil War. You know, and it's funny because the guy at work was from Haiti. And he's like, oh yeah, when the government's collapsed, the third world will rise. And I'm like, you're kind of right, you know, because these are the people that know how to like skin animals and, you know, survive. So, these erudite New Yorkers, you better pray there's no civil war. But what does this say? If only you could have gotten Hunter to do one of your covers, then yeah, get a Hunter Biden cover. Yeah. These are pretty good. Zach Dan, sounds like a fun story, a bit of a story candy, not to be pretentious, but everything has to be super great. I wouldn't want to mess with the hillbillies. You don't want to mess with the hillbillies. Maybe some independent journalists, but I doubt the legacy media will actually investigate the rebels. Yeah. Like I said, the premise is kind of hokey, but once you get past the premise, I'm kind of enjoying it. Not too many leftists at the gun range. Yep. So this is Damsels in Excess. And people are probably going to tease me, but Aspen Comics put out like a whole slate of comics, and I don't think they sold too well. And this is like a Dungeons and Dragons comic. There's 5 kingdoms in this world, and they're run by the 5 sisters, and like the men have been executed. And then when you find out why the men were executed, it's kind of sad because the queen mother was abused and couldn't deal with the trauma. But all I could think of is they were really short on the how do you execute all the men in a kingdom? Like they don't fight, they just stand there. But whatever. Another one, just forget about the premise. But I kind of liked because it kind of threw the whole shade on if women ruled. Oh man, they hate each other. They're nasty. They're killing each other. There's court intrigue, and then I'm sure nobody's going to buy this. There was supposed to be a part 2, but I guess it didn't sell well because the last page, men invade from another kingdom, and all the women are like, "What do we do?" So, and no, it's not salacious. There's no nudity. There's nothing. It's actually, Damsels in Excess, I think, hurt the comic with that title. I think people were chased off. They thought it was like a dirty comic, but there was nothing objectionable. What is Ryan Banks? Should true heroes treat anti-heroes as villains? If so, should they hunt them down, turn them in, or kill them? Well, true heroes shouldn't be killing anybody. Superman shouldn't have to kill anybody. Superman is all powerful. He shouldn't, like the Phantom Zone criminals, he put them in the Phantom Zone. He didn't kill them. You know what I mean? So, but like, if Batman existed in the same world as the Punisher, I could see Batman going after the Punisher. And you'll see my spin on that in issue 4 of Heroic Tales. Issue 3, I'm going to introduce the Raven. He's the Punisher Batman character. And then issue 4, the Raven and Patriarch are going to meet for the first time. So you'll see the way I'm purposely giving a vague answer because I don't want to spoil my comic. But good to see you, Ryan Banks. New names. I love seeing new names. A bit of a play on words, not bad. I have that issue of Captain Carrot. Historically, matriarchal societies are uber violent and don't last long. It's funny because back, RJ, do you remember message boards?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Newsarama?
Oh, vaguely.
Yeah, Newsarama was like, and then it became the Outhousers, and then I don't know, but that's the great message board that gave us such intrepid journalists as what's Rich Johnson and Jude Terror. And Heidi McDonald, I think they all came out of that. But I was avid on that, and I used to argue with people. And this one feminist was just like, matriarchal societies. I was like, name a matriarchal society. I said, can you? And I stumped her. I said, the Etruscans were a matriarchal society. They invented gladiatorial combat. And their gods were all like demonic with long, sharp teeth. They made the Aztec gods look sane. And then the Romans, the patriarchal side, actually tamed the horrors of the Etruscan society, and not that they were golden bar of benevolence, but they were a lot better. So there you go. Only that one.
There was actually just going into history for a second. So I can't remember the fella's name, but there's a historian. He basically separates ancient history into 2 sections, which would be matriarchal and patriarchal. And the patriarchal starts with the Greeks and the Romans. And he says they just took over because the older civilizations were matriarchal and they just couldn't compete with the Greeks and the Romans.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but that historian, I know that historian, but the name is escaping. Gordon Goodbrother, you were a Newsarama, right? What was your name on Newsarama? I was Food Eater Lad, if you remember. I was like the bugaboo of that board. I was like the lone conservative, and like, you think Comicsgate is nasty? It was always like that. But back then, I was fighting with everybody, and every time I showed up, somebody made up a story about me, and then every time I showed up, they used this made up story to attack what. And I was like, okay, but that doesn't say if I'm right or wrong, whatever. Which is like matriarchies, yeah. You know what? Go ask your wife if she wants a woman boss or a male boss. That'll end all matriarchal discussions. So this is Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew. This is issue number 7. This is a guest artist. This cover is Scott Shaw. Scott Shaw did all the art. And this was the last issue that Roy Thomas wrote. After this, it was Scott Shaw did the art and the writing. And it says that was the intention all along, but I guess Roy Thomas was there to show Scott how to, not everybody's born understanding how to write a comic book script. This is going to sound awfully pretentious, and I'm sure RJ, you're getting the same question. I have one comic book under my belt, and people are, emailing me, how do you write comic book scripts? I'm like, very badly,
If anybody remembers, for my first book for Thomas Valley #1, I put out the script book, which was basically a separate graphic novel. It just has the script in it and extra art. And I made sure that I put a spoiler page on the front saying, this is the way I do it. And this is my first actual comic. So don't take this as gospel in any way, shape, or form.
Right. Like, this is the original script for Eddie is Doomed. It's 9 pages and it's written Marvel style because I was kind of intimidated by Tonic Mole. Tonic Mole does Saving the World comics, and I think Tonic Mole is one of the best at writing dialogue right now. So I didn't want to hamper his creativity, so I sent to Marvel style. This is the gist. You go first, and then Oscar started designing character. Oscar Carano, who does the coloring for the suit, and he's also doing the coloring for the Mary Sue story. He started doing character designs, and these character designs were so good that I pulled the script back. Now I'm writing it in full script because originally it was going to be under Tonic Comics, and he was the boss. So I just sent him a loose script, and he could do whatever he wants. Now it's going to be on Longbox Comics, and I'm the boss, so I'm doing a full script. But here's the point I was trying to make. I write full script, boxes, panels, close up on this face. And when I send it to Renzo, I don't know. You work with Renzo. I forgot you work with Renzo. Renzo Rodriguez. He does the Thomas Valiant stories. He does my Heroic Tales story. He just gets it. Like, RJ, do you ever have to correct him or ask him to change things?
Very rarely.
But,
I give him full scripts because he wants full scripts, and he's like, yeah, detail. Give me details, right? And I do that.
Yes. So I give him as much detail and I only asked him to change one thing, and I had like a moral dilemma. Do I have the right to ask him to? I thought he would have to rewrite the whole page. He was like, 2 taps. I forgot.
He does everything layered, so he's really, really good at making changes. Like the last change I had to make was one of the characters, Artemis, in Thomas Valiant #2 shoots an arrow, and I wanted a separate panel inside the panel as a small round panel to show where the arrow was going and where it's going to hit. And it's like, just make this smaller and put it off towards the side. He's like, no problem. 5 minutes later, I got it.
So then I do the same style of script, and I send it to Oscar, and Oscar's like, okay, so when you do this, do you mean this? Like he asks a lot more questions. So, I'm working with 3 different artists, and I could see, I don't know. I think Renzo and I are telepathically linked because like it's almost exactly what I pictured, and then Oscar, he wants more input and changes things, but he's got such good like he already improved my first page already, So it's fun. It's fun. And I have to keep in mind that comics is a visual medium, and I'm dealing with the visual experts. So I kind of, what do you think? Do you defer to the artists, or do you stick
definitely.
To
I was just thinking about that because I was writing an email about 2 hours ago to the guy who's doing the Artemis book itself. He's in Japan. He's a manga artist. And I said, I want it in manga style, right? And I'll put in whatever I need to in order to try to explain it to a North American audience if they need it. But I was saying to him, I said, what's with this page? You were supposed to do X, and all you gave me is a blank shot of the outside with nobody there. He goes, well, that's how you do it in manga, right? This is how you change scenes in manga. You give an overview of the area with no actual people in it. And I said, okay, I'll defer to your expertise and we'll
Wow.
keep it like that.
That's
And
why
I'll
I
just,
wouldn't do manga style. I just don't know it well enough. I just don't know it well enough.
well, that's
I
why
guess
I'm
that's
trusting
why
my artist.
So we got a comment here. Sydney, new name. I'm actually shaking with pleasure to your stream. Keep it up. Thank you. Where were you when I was single? My theory is that in aggregate, women are better at making deep friendships with small groups, while men are better at doing things in less personal and on the broader scale. Both are important. Yeah, men and so basically, Zach10, you're saying blasphemy. You're saying that men and women are different. Calm down, Sydney. She can do whatever she wants. It's her house. She just gets excited. That's fine. That's fine. I used to love that comic. This comic, Captain Carrot. I think that a major advantage human artists have over. Yes. What do you think about that? Do you think AI is ever going to take over comics?
No, that's exactly why, because there is something human about how to actually lay things out and stuff like that. And again, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, but the fact that different faces from different places and different ages, a computer just can't figure that out.
That's a good point. I do think, there will be AI comics.
Oh yeah,
there will be, but my big fear is, will people just buy them because that's what they think comics are? Will they be cheaper so that like they'll go after them, or will they just be like, this is crap, and then lose interest in comics altogether? So you and I are, just what do they say? The wheat goes with the chaff into the fire. You know what I mean?
Here's what I'm thinking. I mean, because you have who's doing one right now? Somebody's doing an AI comic. Who the heck is it? Anyways, but the thing is that do you remember when they first started putting in the 3D stuff within comics and stuff like that? It looked so beautiful, we thought, back in the 80s, and it's like, wow, this is cool. And you look at it now and cringe just completely with every panel. It's like, how in the world did I ever think I would want to buy this?
I remember when Alan Moore's Miracle Man was coming out by Eclipse Comics. It was originally like 75 cents when all other comics were $1.50, because it was like half the size. And then I guess they realized that they couldn't keep that up, so it went to $1.50, but they filled it with laser erasure and press button, and it was like a digitally computer comic. So it was the early ages of computer art, and it was like 8-bit. It was digital, or maybe I'm getting the term, but I hated it. And I was just like, why am I spending? Because the comic used to be 75 cents. Now it's $1.50. And back, this is 1987 money. I'm like, I'm spending half the money on a comic that I refuse to read. It did, and that kind of stuff went out of the way. Do you remember the Batman first digital?
Yep, it's exactly what I'm thinking of. It was Batman 3D. It was a graphic novel, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I never got it. I hated it. it.
I bought it, and I'm looking at it when I'm going through my stuff going, wow, that looks bad. And I think that AI is going to look like that for people in the future.
I also remember like Jack Kirby would put like black and white cityscapes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hated that too.
So did I. When they used to put
sorry, Jack.
There was a Submariner book where they put an image of New York in the background, which was an actual photo. I was like, oh, that was bad.
Gordon Goodbrother, Renzo loves to draw. He's drawing constantly. He loves. RJ, how often do you communicate with him?
I only communicate with him when he has pages for me. I leave the man alone otherwise.
Right. I'm similar. Everybody that I work with on Fridays, I just say, hey, it's the Friday message. How's everything? Everybody need anything? Everybody okay? Because, I hate to say it. What if somebody's hospitalized? You know what I mean? I just want to keep a schedule going. So just Fridays. I don't want to be a pest. But Renzo's just sending me messages. Man, I love this on panel 3. This character's so cool. Blah, blah. Can we make a card? He's just so enthusiastic. He's so enthusiastic. I want to work with Renzo. I want to hit the lottery so Renzo doesn't have to worry about bills. It's important to do art no matter what everybody else is doing. Read few short stories, but that's what I write. Few read short stories, but that's what I write. Sound Engraver. People keep telling me that because I write one each each issue of my comic is one complete story or two complete stories. But there's going to be a thread that goes through all the issues, so when something else happens, you'll be like, oh. But people tell me that it's so hard to write single issue stories. Like, I find it's difficult to write a 6 comics. Like, how do you just take a superhero battle and fill 6 issues out of it? Like, I find most superhero comics only need 1 issue. I'm not Brian Michael Bendis. You're going to make them sit at the coffee shop for 3 pages, and walking to the coffee shop for another 3 pages. I
think short stories are the future, Sound Engraver. It's like the 1920s or 1930s. I just watched a bunch of videos where people were saying nobody reads books anymore, but people read short stories, right? And the short stories are, things like, Blade Runner. That was a short story, right? You get these massive hits that come out of very small ideas, and the more short stories out there, the more ideas you can put out there. And I think that short stories, again, are what's going to be where a lot of really good art and storytelling is going to explode from in the near future, maybe 10, 20 years.
Yeah. I think people are conditioned to read shorter and shorter stories because of like our cell phones. You know what I mean? Like there's a cartoon now, there's like 15-minute cartoons that come out. I was like, what's wrong with people that they can't even sit through an hour cartoon? Notice they are developing technologies to replace creative people, but not to do the physical drudgery. Well, that's coming. It's easier just to have a chat GP spit out a script, but I guarantee within 5 years, I'm going to be working. There's going to be robots doing the manual labor. You know what I mean? And then me as the electrician coming out, like checking on the splices and stuff like that. But there's going to be
10 years ago, they had robots doing Adobe houses. They would just basically, it's the same thing as a printer, a 3D printer, but they would do a house shell, right? Yeah, that was 10, 15 years ago.
Yep. So it's coming. It's coming. Miracle Man #2, when the guy was electrified in a suit and tie. I like that look. Yeah, that was great. Miracle Man was one of my favorite Alan Moore, and I know everybody hates Alan Moore these days. I gave a book a dynamic cover 6 to 12. I recommend you putting in a single issue like that. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, I can imagine single issues would be easier to endeavor than multiple issues. Well, my big thing is I don't feel I have the right to make you wait a year for part 2 and then think about it. So I have a 4-issue story arc. That's $40 and then another $40 for shipping. So I just asked you to spend $80 for a story. I'm trying to think like that as a customer. So I think $10 and then shipping, and then I throw in stickers and, I hate to say this, but like, it's also to help out the channel or whatever, you know what I mean? Because not every comic costs $10 to ship. I know I shouldn't be talking about that, but I try to be honest. So actually everything to Canada sucks up any of the extra money. Canada, I don't know. How's Canada more expensive than Germany? I'll never understand that. But I think like at the very least you could say I got a satisfying read. I got a satisfying story, Thanks for the encouragement, RJ. I hope so. Oh, so I caught up on the chat. So Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew, for those of you who don't know, is Earth. I forget what. It's one of the Earths. For pre-crisis Earth, pre-crisis DC, and all the superheroes. Like this is Pig Iron, which is a clever name. This is Captain Carrot. He's the Superman, the Rubber Duck, Abracadabra, Yankee Doodle Poodle, Fastback the Turtle, and they're like a super team. And in this particular issue, Bowser shows up. He's like a Conan ripoff from a million years ago. It's a fill-in issue, and it's actually my favorite issue of the series. It was pretty good. Made me think a lot of Conan. So there you go, RJ. An issue for you. How do you feel about like funny animals kind of books?
When I was younger and collecting comics, like when this came out, I was like, I don't want to buy Spider Ham. I don't want to buy Captain Carrot. I was just shaking my head, right?
Right. Me neither. That's why I'm reading it now for the first time. Like nowadays, I kind of like, oh, it's sweet. It's innocent, but this issue, 8, the Timekeeper, and for whatever reason, the Timekeeper is a bear. It started to get a little long in the tooth for me because the original, the humor was situational. Now it's punny. It's just like Bird Reynolds instead of Burt Reynolds. Lost Parakeets instead of Los Angeles. It's like that's not funny. That's just changing a word. So it's getting a little long in the tooth. So I'm up to issue 8.
Oh, Doom Patrol.
This is Doom
beautiful
Patrol. This is number 100. This is the origin of Beast Boy and the origin of Robot Man. I mean, at this point, they're doing a backup stories. They're just taking one member of the Doom Patrol and filling in gaps. So last issue was Rita Farr, Elastigirl. So I guess next issue they're going to finish the Robot Man story. So here's the
What
thing.
the heck is the origin of Changeling? I don't even know.
Okay, so he's called Beast Boy right here, and here's a funny thing. His name is Craig. So in Teen Titans, they introduced him as Garfield Logan.
Right.
But in this comic, they're introducing him as Craig, and he's the ward of Mr. Galtree. And Mr. Galtree is a piece of crap that just took him in and basically selling him for medical experiments. So there's 22 more issues of the Doom Patrol. So this is the latest one that I've read. So I don't know. Do they address the fact, does he change his name to Garfield Logan? Is it just a continuity thing? Or, you know, what at one point, you know, Rita's going to drop them and Steve Dalton. So does Mr. Gantry go to jail? I want to know, you know, so there you go. But this I do like. I like that Robot Negative Man is checking out Rita Farr, checking out her skirt. You know, just because you're encased in bandages doesn't mean you're not interested in fair sex. So this is, I think you like
Farford and the Grey Mouser.
Yeah,
Powerful.
this is Farford and the Grey Mouser, written by why can't I remember who wrote this, but drawn by Howard Chaykin. I've always loved this from the deities and demigods. Hate is just this cloud of eyeballs, and it just spreads out and causes everybody to go nuts, you know. So that deities and demigods
that worked in a comic. When they tried to do it in the Green Lantern movie, it just did not work.
right. Yeah, but this is Fafter. He's like a 6'6" barbarian from the north. And this is Grey Mouser. He's like 4'11", you know, and he's like a thief. Also, he's a thief, like wizard, you know, and he's like a warrior and sometimes priest. And Frank Lieber was the writer. There's a whole bunch of novels. I think there's like 12. I read all the novels. They're quick, easy reads. And they're really bizarre. There's nothing like Fafter and Grey Mouser. You know, everybody else is magical except for them. You know, they're like the underdogs wherever they go. And it kind of got into like some weird kinky sex later on too in the later novels. This is Tomorrow Girl and Punchline. This is the newsstand edition of Bill Williams' comic Punchline. And then Tomorrow, he crowdfunded it. I backed it, crowdfunded, and I also got the newsstand. Bill Williams is my letterer, so I got to support my the guys who work on my comic. Plus, it's a great comic. I've said this I don't know if Bill Williams has heard me say this, but Punchline breaks all my superhero rules. Okay, so the name of the comic book is Punchline. Her superhero name is Versima. What does that have to do with a punchline? What are her powers? I think she's super strong. She flies. She's invulnerable. She's super fast. Her costume has too many lines. Her name doesn't make it, but it's still a great comic. You know, so my rules can be broken if you're somebody like Bill Williams and got super talent. You know, like I said, my rules are guidelines. You know about my rules, right? For superheroes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is Local Man. This is Tim Seeley. Tim Seeley is probably most famous for Hack Slash, which I do like. I like Tim Seeley a lot. I followed him to Revival. It's amazing how many comics he has. But the premise of this is this comic actually inspired me to do a flip book. So this is this is him. So the premise to this, in the 90s, he was Crossfire and he was part of this team. And then now in the modern age, he's disgraced, and you're figuring out why is he disgraced? What happened? He's back living with his parents. So there's like two stories going on, like a 90s extreme story, you know, with the 90s, but it just works. I'm having a lot of fun with this, but I got to say, this comic is giving me so much problems in that, like, I keep losing issues. It's like it's up to issue 15 right now, and I just reached issue 9, even though I have the I can't find them. So I got to tell Tim Seeley your comic is mischievous. Garfield Logan was the second Beast Boy, the original pre-Crisis Net. They killed Garfield Logan. See, as far as because I have all the comics up until the New 52. You know, he was Garfield Logan pre-Crisis, and he was Garfield Logan after the Crisis. But they introduced him as Craig in that particular issue. So I don't know what's going on. They, you know, maybe they won't address it. Maybe it's like one of those early things. Continuity doesn't matter. Gordon, did the first one get killed off? I don't know. I got 22 more issues of Doom Patrol to read, and I'll tell you. Denny Neal scripted that Sword and Sorcery issue. That's right. Sounds like the start of headline. Local man wrestles alligator. That's pretty much. So it's called Local Man because he's legally not allowed to go as Crossfire. So he's home, and I forget, a crime happens. So he just literally puts a ski mask over his face and stops the crime. And the paper said Local Man foils crime. So that's his name because he legally can't call himself Cross because he's disgraced. This is Dawn and Vampirella. Beautiful Michael Lynn's art.
Can you tell me what Dawn's powers are? Because I have no clue. I've seen art from this character for 20 years plus and still don't know much of anything about that character.
Well, this 4-issue series is the only Dawn comics I have, and it's like my second Vampirella. I'm not really into these characters. I don't like the fact that Vampirella is a vampire from the planet Draculon. I'm done. That's just too hokey for me. And Dawn is a goddess, but what should your powers be if you're the goddess of the dawn? But she's not the goddess of the dawn. She's just like this. She's this intermediary between life and death. So the name doesn't fit. So I can't get it, but I just love his artwork. And this story, these two women were captured by some demon. And what they're doing is, I'm going to kill one of you. The one who lives, you live if you tell me the best story. So every issue is like 3 stories that they're going back and forth telling. But what they're also doing is they're probing this demon for weakness. And they team up in this particular issue. But then it's not really resolved. This is the 4th issue of 4, and you're like, okay, so where's the showdown? Like, is there another Dawn Vampirella that I don't know? I got to look up because it was a very unsatisfying ending. But up until the last 3 pages, I was loving this. I liked the Shizerihad telling these interesting stories and the demon mocking them, and then they're probing the demon for weakness. It was clever. But what are Dawn's powers? I have no idea because all they did was tell stories. This is the worst comic I've ever read. I bought issue number 1 because it was, I think Mike Allred's artwork on the and I love his artwork, but this just absolutely 100% sucks. And I'm glad that, but it was 5 issues. I was like, I got to get the missing issues, and I have to read any comics that I buy. And I prioritize reading comics. If I started a series, I have to finish it before I could start a new series. So I was like, I have to read this so I could get to I'm trying to read Star Slayer, Mike Grail Star Slayer. You know, I can't start them. I can't start a new series until I finish up all the. This is awful. This is just, I don't care. It's Peter Milligan. I usually like Peter Milligan. This just sucks. You know, I'm so glad it was over. This is Batwoman. This is I think one of the best DC comics put out in the last 30 years. This comic is awesome. When it first came out, it was Detective Comics. They kind of got rid of Batman in Detective Comics, and I was such a completionist that I kept getting it. Even Detective Comics featuring Batwoman. I was like, oh, she's a lesbian. She's another one. But you know what? The writing is so good. It proves that you can have LGBT, whatever characters, if you're a good writer. And it's not like I think we've become super sensitive to the woke. So like when we hear, oh, it's a woman superhero or it's a lesbian, or what, we immediately dismiss it. And I'm like that too. But this is so good. The art is so good. And it's so different that any other like she's not going and punching all the creatures. Like, guys, she's a woman. She's different than men. She's not as physically strong. So she kind of like comes at them like psychologically. And this is Killer Croc. And the way Killer Croc is defeated in this issue is really good. And this art is outstanding. It's really good. I recommend it. This is New 52. This is like one of the only DC 52 comics I still collected, but it just didn't last. I don't know, but like Williams, he's writing it now, but he was drawing it for the long time. Blackman and Frank, I'm gonna say his name wrong, but he took over the art. So the art is drastically different in this issue, but it's so good. Like, and she has a really cool villain. So I recommend this comic a lot. And here is The Fly. This is The Fly number 2.
It's the old Red Circle.
Yeah, this is old Red Circle. This is 1959. And I know you'll like it because it's based in Irish Celtic mythology, because here's a leprechaun. And did you know that leprechauns control robots? I didn't know that. So it's good to know. So Tim O'Casey, he controls a robot wrecking crew that just it's like horrible. Like, so someone stole Finn McCool's gold, and he was appointed the guardian of Finn McCool's gold. So
I'm just wondering why the character called the Fly is swinging on a rope. Can he not fly in this issue?
He gets thrown down a hole, and he can't get out of the hole. Like, if you're going to take the Fly's powers, you're not going to take the one power that it's named after. Flies are called flies because they fly, and you can't fly if you're the Fly. So he's a little kid who lives in an orphanage, and the orphanage doesn't have enough money, so they basically rent the kids out as servants to other people. And he goes to this horrible old man, and all he does is scrub their floors. I don't know what's going on in this old man's house that this poor kid has to constantly scrub the floors. And so he's scrubbing the floors, and he finds like a desk, and he opens it up, and there's a ring, and he puts on the ring, and it introduces him to the Fly people. They're an interdimensional race of Fly people. They confer to him the powers of so if he puts on the ring and says, "I wish to be Flyman," he turns into Flyman, who can't fly. So later on he does fly, because I have some of the Crusaders comics and he flies. But this is early Jack Kirby. It's so bad it's good. There's 4 stories in it. I really like the Crusaders, and the Crusaders debut in this comic, so I got to get them all. So this is issue number 2. But there you go. That's everything that I read. Let's see. A whole bunch of comments went by when let me scroll up. Beast Boy, Marcus. Craig is something deserving of a no prize in real life. They just changed his name to Garfield. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why Garfield Logan is Craig. I got to figure it out. She cries blood. Who Batwoman?
Dawn.
I'm sorry?
Dawn.
Oh, Dawn. Yeah, she always has that tear. It's like a tattoo. I don't know what. Yeah. Yes, love is all. You talking about Michael Eisner? Wow, I ignored the chats. I got on a rant. At least there are 2 things you need to know. Yes, she's got two assets. I mean, RJ's always talking about make comic book women beautiful again. And what's his name? Lisner. I forget his first name. Michael Lisner. He draws beautiful, beautiful women. But I just can't get. She's a vampire from the planet Draculon. Why would you be on a planet where there's no food? How would you evolve? That kind of stuff drives me nuts. Like Superman. Why did you evolve the power to be this godlike being on the one place in the universe where you don't get those powers? Like, to me, it means that Krypton, to my way of thinking, Krypton had to be a penal colony by other beings that put the Kryptonians there. Now you're not going to cause problem. And it happened so far back in the past that the Kryptonians either don't realize it or it's a horrible secret. That's what I would do with Superman. They're the Australians of space. I've never read a Joseph Michael Linzer comic. Neither did I, because I don't know why. Yeah, just look at them. That's there you go. I was duped. Absolutely, I was duped by dupe. Ex-duped. Fitting that the color is of vegetables. I read Star Slayer when it came out. Yeah, I missed it. That's Mike Grell's. It's one of his space firing. Zach John should have known. It's pattern recognition. The show didn't do any favor. Which show? Star Pacific's Comics that possibly went to first. Yes. I have issue number 1. I have like the order that I could read them. So I gotta get to the I gotta finish all the comics that I start. I rage quit Dupe. And then like I got it's only 3 more issues. I gotta read it before I can read something. A Kirby cover. Autobots versus the Leprechauns. No, that's just it. The Leprechaun's name is Tim O'Casey, and Tim O'Casey controls the Leprechauns. And then the Fly dresses up like Finn McCool with a big mace and just starts smashing everything so that the guy who actually stole the gold freaks out and tells him where the gold is. And I love it. He just goes, I put the gold in a ship and then I sunk a ship in the sea. That's where the gold is. The sea is a big place. And then they find the gold, just typical example of like, these kids don't care about details.
I think I got to run, John. I should be starting my stream.
Oh, yeah, I got to go to bed. Jeez. Oh, yeah, it's 9:45. So, so see you, RJ. Anything you want to say? I pontificated way too much.
No, not too much. But if you do get a chance, you could show those art pieces from Renzo just to give people a little bit of a little bit of look what no problem. But I really got to take off because I should have started my stream 5 minutes ago. All right, I'll see y'all later.
Okay. I will. So this is sneak peeks at Renzo designs that RJ just sent me. That is cool. What else we got here? That is pretty cool. I'm sorry, RJ. I talk so much. That is pretty cool. I like this one. That is really cool. Oh, okay. So there's only 3. Okay. I had an Archer character, and Renzo knows her future, and he's like, "Oh man, I like her." Who's that guy in the background shooting at? Autobot. Unfortunately, he has the wings, but not the lower density. Yeah, he gets more powerful. He gets super powerful. That's the thing with these 50 superheroes. They end up getting like way too. Who's that guy in the background shooting at? Oh, good eyes. A cop is shooting at the robots. A cop over here is shooting at the robots. Good eyes. Good eyes. I didn't even notice that. I got the comic book right in here. Maybe they changed his name to protect his. Yeah. I'm actually eager to find out. But the way I order comics once a month, so it hasn't been 4 weeks since the last time I ordered comics. So I gotta wait, and I also wait till I get to a dollar amount to justify the postage. So so I'm not going to order $12 worth of comics and then pay $18 worth of shipping. So I usually wait till I like just over $100 worth of comics. Vampirella doesn't know what she's anymore. I know. Maybe they're great comics. I don't know. I never read them. Divine Intervention. That seems to be her power. Thanks for streaming, guys. Oh, thank you. Looks pretty good. Have a good night, RJ. Archer is my favorite of the 3. Yeah, Renzo's designs are so good. Renzo's just Charles Bronsoning all the bots. Yeah, just shoot them. Just shoot them. Why would a leprechaun have robots? It's just so silly. Yeah, but there you go. So next week, comic book team up will be on RJ's channel. The week after that, if Momentum Comics, you just got to confirm. That's the way I do things. Is you want to come on my channel? Let me think about it. I'm still going to pursue other people to come on my channel. And then when you say yes, I say, okay, send me your links and a promo image. And as soon as I get the links to the promo image, I make the stream, send you the invite, and that's the confirmation. But a lot of people, I never hear back from them. So there we go. Every once in a while, some guy will be like, okay. And then I book somebody else, and then another person will send me the links and promo. I'm like, no, I double booked. But there you go, in the inside baseball. But I got to go to bed, guys. It's 9:45, and I was sleepy before I even started the stream. So confirm. Yeah. So Monumental Comics, not this Wednesday, the following Wednesday. Just send me a confirmation that you'll be on it, and you'll I just lost my trace. And links and a promo image. Yeah, I didn't show any DMs. There was no DMs to show. There was just people who messaged me. Yeah, but I didn't show any DMs. But I know what you're thinking, student of God. Yeah, I thought of that too. But there's nothing. I think RJ's and I DMs are like the most wholesome things in the world. How's it doing? Is it cold up there? Yeah, it's cold up there. How's it going? How's everything going? How's the house? Cool. How's the wife? You coming to New York? No, I'm not coming in. So if you want to screenshot RJ and I's DMs, go ahead. You know, your blood sugar level will go up from all the sweet sugar. Where do you want them sent to? Right here in Twitter is fine. DM me in Twitter. It's the easiest way to get in touch with me. And it's also the easiest way to transfer links over to the StreamYard. When people email me, it's an extra step. Henry Jamek, everyone take care. Good to see you. New name. Good brother. Good to see you, student of God. How you doing? I already invited if you want to come on and talk, but I know you want to keep your anonymity. But anyway, good night. I'm off. I come home from work. I just want to go to bed. I just want to go to bed. My wife is freaking out. Are you okay? You know, I don't want to hang out with friends. I don't want to go out. I just want to go to bed. It's just so cold. Can't wait for this cold snap to end. Once it's 40 degrees, I can deal with 40 degrees. But oh my God, waking up and it's in the single digits, and then I got to be outside. It's unbearable. I'm like a little kid. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. But enough about that. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, who am I on? So let's tell you what's going on tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm hitting the wrong button. Got to hit the calendar, not the clock. So tomorrow, Godfo will be on at 7:00. I got to make the stream for that. And that's it, 7:00. Friday, I have Pitch Black at 7:00. Pitch Black is my first of a new series. See how it works. Maybe it'll be a disaster. But Pitch Black is going to be, it's just me. I'm going to open an invite. I'm going to put the link in the chat. I'll start. I'll throw it out there. And anybody who wants to pitch a comic book, I'm not endorsing the comic. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, why not? Somebody did that for me when I started, and I don't have a big channel, but I got a nice following. So it would be nice. Anybody who has a comic book, you could come in, you could pitch. You could be a pro, but you don't need Pitch Black if you're a pro. But anybody starting out, just come in, pitch a comic, and the time that I'll give you is based on how many people are waiting. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give you, I'll give you a half hour if you're the only person, but if nobody else shows up, if 100 people show up, we'll keep it going. And then at 8:30, it's clobbering time. It's going to be Conan versus Tarzan. And I read a lot of Conan comics. I haven't read a lot of Conan books. I read a lot of Tarzan books, but I haven't read a lot of Tarzan comics. So this should be interesting. I wanted to do something a little different than superheroes. And that's it. Sunday is going to be Sunday comics. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I usually pick that at Friday. So that's my schedule for the week. The way I do things is Wednesdays is the start of my streaming week. Mondays and Tuesdays, I usually have people over for game nights. So Wednesday starts, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday, usually my wife and I do something, and then Sunday comics. But sometimes I pop in, and now I'm babbling. That means I'm tired. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'm going to go. Bye-bye.